Hey, everybody. So glad you could join us. Today, we'll be taking through some of the wonderful innovations that David has done in the area of digital transformation using AI. Now, one of the things that I keep telling people about AI, specifically generative AI, is its ability to help do those transformations. And the transformations that you may be thinking of are the ones that are generating revenue, which are typically the more difficult ones to transform because you're changing revenue streams. People are very hesitant and require an unbelievable amount of planning and processing and governance to be able to do those. But there are tons of other really interesting opportunities if you look beyond the obvious. And David did a really good job of that in being able to leverage technology like Power Apps and OpenAI large language models to be able to help in an area that I know we struggle in, and many of our clients, many of our partners, many of my friends talk about this, is the area of interviews. So at this point, I'd love to turn it over to David and take us through your reasoning for this kind of transformation, why you thought of it. Take us through it working. And as we go along, please type out any kind of questions in the stream. We'd love to answer everybody's questions as well. So David, take it away. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Sean. Thanks for the handoff. And I'm going to come back to you because we're going to do a little mock demo. And I'm going to use you as a guinea pig to pretend like you're going to interview for a position so that we can hopefully demo this live. Just letting everybody know we've got a new platform. We've just launched the podcast recently. So if we have a couple of bumps in the road, please excuse us as we get used to the platform and systems. But back to the topic and the subject at hand. Really what the main takeaway or the perspective was from putting together this, this mock-up or proof of concept that we call POC is to have people really see the benefit of AI. And there's really two high level categories for generative AI. And that's in the area of enterprise search, being able to get to all of your data, the unstructured data, whether it's interacting with a chatbot or whatever. That's really where you're going to get a lot of low-hanging fruit and some quick wins. The other side of that, and this is where people, I don't think they understand or can appreciate what it can do. And this is how it accelerates and helps you do your job better, not replace your job, because there should always be some human centricity. Even if AI gets to the point of artificial general intelligence, people are social animals. We have emotions. As of right now, generative AI and even AGI in the near future likely isn't going to have emotions that come along with it. It can emulate emotions, but people need people. And so people always need to be centric. I call it human centricity. And so everybody needs to think in terms of how can I do my job better, because corporations and businesses are always demanding more with less. And so you get more and more piled onto your plate. And there's things that you just absolutely get stuck into the grind every day that you just don't want to do. You should be using that as the opportunity to say, do I really need to do this? Can I automate this? Can generative AI help accelerate what it is I'm doing? Instead of an 8-hour task, can I turn it into a half-hour task? And then use that time to up your skills into other areas. So there's lots and lots of opportunity here. Okay, I'm going to hopefully have a good attempt at sharing my screen here. And I'm going to bring this over. Let's see if we can get to the media portion of it. I am going to do my screen, the entire screen. All right. So hopefully our pictures won't get in the way too much here. So hopefully, Sean, are you able to see my screen just out of curiosity?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Thought it was going, but I absolutely wanted to make sure. Okay. So this is the Microsoft Power Platform. It's a platform near and dear to my heart. And so this is a low code, no code opportunity here. If you know how to use Excel and PowerPoint, this is exactly what this is. I want you to imagine if you had PowerPoint slides with programmatic functionality of Excel, and the two got together, had a child, you're going to get the Power Platform in this Canvas app. So I'm going to show you the finished product. This is in my demo developer environment. So ignore the banners and the flags. I'm also going to hit my I believe 11 key to make it full screen. And I'm going to hit F5 so that it kind of fills up the entirety or the majority of the entirety of the screen. So I want to give you kind of a quick tour here about what you're seeing. This is the landing page. And so the premise or the idea or the problem that we're trying to solve is that corporations either have managers, manager leads, and or HR departments, but at some point, inevitably, it comes to the realization is you're swamped. You need to grow. You need to, hire for a said position. Well, with that comes a bunch of monotonous steps. Maybe you've hired for this position before. If so, that's great. You use that as an accelerator to, hire again for the same or a similar position. And so in other cases, maybe you never, ever hired for this position. It's absolutely brand new, and you have no clue where to even begin. And so this is where this helps. I want you to think of incremental workflow where you're always in control, but the AI is going to do the heavy lift. If you're familiar with something called the Pareto principle, or in more layman's terms, the 80-20 rule, you may be more familiar with. This is the process where AI can do the heavy 80% lift. You have the oversight and the full control, the creative latitude to change or morph it in any which way you want. But this is going to illustrate this. Sean, I'm going to lean on you a little bit. I'm feeling pretty creatively drained today. Help me come up with an idea for a job title, and let's watch AI create this with us.
Let's do something fun. How about Unity game developer?
Okay. Now, this is something I have no experience, so this is really, really great. But this is kind of illustrating the point where, again, I don't really know what to do with this. This is a new area for me. And so generative AI is going to help me kind of flesh this out. So all I do is just set this whole thing in motion. I want you to think of a little tiny snowball at the top of the hill, and it's going to roll downhill. It's going to collect more information. It's going to generate more data. And you're going to kind of, keep it in track or keep it on the line, because at the bottom of the hill, you got this huge target that this snowball is going to need to hit. So I'm going to click the middle of this screen, and hopefully, as the demo gods bless us, nothing bad happens. And so this will just go out. Right now, behind the scenes, it went out to AI. Behind the scenes, we're using, in this particular example, this is OpenAI. You can also use Azure OpenAI. You could use a private LLM, but the point is, it's just a large language model behind the scenes. So through some creative prompt engineering on the back end, that's a lot of the back end heavy lifting, it came out with this very consistent, I could go for any of these other positions that you see here on the screen, and it basically writes the job description for you with key responsibilities. We've got qualifications, and of course you have the position overview here at the top. Now, I could have changed this to format it a little bit better, but keep in mind, this is just a proof of concept. Sky's the limit with opportunity. And so if at any point after this video, whether you're not attending the live or you are attending the live, if you have any questions about what you're seeing here or want to talk about the art of what's possible, Sean and I both have our LinkedIn profiles. I'm going to digress very, very quickly to give out this quick plug. Hopefully we can get this solved here. This is our Transformation Leaders Podcast homepage. It's at transformationleaderspodcast.com. And you can click on any one of our pictures or the titles, and it'll take us right into LinkedIn, and you can reach out to us there to ask any questions that you may have. But that's how you can kind of reach out and get in touch with us. All right, so going back to the demo here, we've got this job description. And at this point, let's just say, I'm just going to make an edit for the sake of making an edit, not that it's right or wrong. And then rather than add something, I'm simply just going to say that was a little outlandish. We're not going to use that. So I went ahead and I changed it. I'm illustrating your 20% human in the middle. You've read it. You might want to tweak it. But the point is, it did the heavy lift for you. At this point, I'm going to save it. Now, I want to explain what's going to happen when I do this. It's going to take the job title. It's going to take our newly created job description, and it's adding step by step, layer by layer, where human and AI are working through a workflow to get to an end result or an outcome. So at this point, I hit save, and it's going to come up with 10 interview questions that the interviewer should be asking the candidate based on the title and the job description that we've just completed. And just like before, this is the 80% heavy lift. We're going to see the result of the 10 questions, and then we're going to go in and look at not only the questions, but we're going to go in and check out all of the information that goes along with it. So that happened kind of quickly, and I didn't explain it. So here is the Unity Game Developer item here. If I click on it, I can go back to refine the job description. But if I click on this question icon, you can see it says Review Interview Questions. And so that's what I clicked on to get here. Here is a list of the 10 questions as it relates to, the job description that we just used AI to create. Also, AI created these 10 questions, but in addition to the question, we also get what we think should be an acceptable answer from the candidate. They don't have to use this verbatim, but you should at least tweak this within some degree of where you would like the candidate to answer, ideally. And again, this is just a list, an accelerator. If you don't like any of these, you can delete every one of them and create your own. If you like 2 of them, you can delete everything else, keep the 2 and refine them. But the point is, at some point, you're going to say, this is great. Again, I can delete the questions. I can add questions up here, or I can just go back to the main menu. And then for the Unity Game Developer, something else that I can do is something called Conduct an Interview. And this is where I'm going to lean on Sean. Give me just a second. And so one of the things, now I'm hoping that this works because we're mixing a couple of different platforms. So hopefully this does work. If not, we'll have to do a fallback because we're in this special software that allows us to broadcast out live streams. I'm not sure it's going to capture the audio as it normally would when we're using Zoom or Teams, which is in the reality what you would be using if you were to interview a candidate. So Sean, I'm going to hit this test button. As soon as I give you the thumbs up, just start talking because I want to see if it captures any of your audio.
Hello, world.
And it saw silence. So unfortunately, it didn't come through in this particular podcast window, but we've used this in Teams. I've tried it in Zoom, and it does work that way. And you just have to make some adjustments to your audio settings, but it can capture that audio. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to present as both. Let me make sure my audio is coming through. Test 1, 2, test 1, 2. Okay, at least my voice is coming through as expected. All right, so that being said, I know that this is working here. Sean, I am going to put your name in here, and we are going to just play. I'm going to do, we're going to do a little ventriloquist back here. All right, so I'm going to hit create. So now I'm interviewing Sean, and so it prompts the name. All those questions that you saw earlier are here. And so, one of the things that I can do is I can say, hey, Sean, what experience do you have with Unity game development? It's a good, soft opening answer. And I'm going to give a really bad answer on purpose because I want you to see what happens. Yeah, I really don't have any experience with Unity game development. I have written plenty of games in other programming languages, but I'm looking to learn to be a developer for Unity game development. All right. So a couple things have happened here behind the scenes because there's a whole bunch of layering going on. And I was very straightforward and just, it took, first of all, it took and transcribed what I said and converted it to text. It used that text in the next generative AI statement and says, I want you to evaluate the candidate's response, which is what I verbally had that we transcribed. And you notice it happened in almost real time. It was a little laggy, but not too bad. And the other thing is it came back with an assessment from the AI. And the AI is telling me that it says I was honest, but I had a willingness to learn. And as a result, I'm not going to read all of this to you. You can read for yourselves here. But by and large, it gave me an AI score of 3 stars out of 5 because I don't really have a lot of experience, but it sees potential in me being able to potentially be a good candidate long term. Now, if you're looking for a seasoned tech lead for this position, I probably wouldn't be a good candidate. And we should put that in the questions to help guide and steer that, because it will take and have a huge impact on its reasoning. Also in the job description as well, if we had put that we were looking for a senior developer, it will evaluate this to a much lower standard because I just said I don't have any experience. Now, again, human in the middle, I'm going to just type any old thing here, and I'm going to say 2 stars. And so I'm going to, at some point, I can either save the response, I can end the interview. So let me save this here. So now I have a check in the checkbox, and I can move on to the next question. And at some point, I'm going to wind up ending the interview, and I will be taken to this kind of graphic here. So this is just kind of helping us figure out, A, who are the top candidates, and they'll bubble up to the top. It's also going to show an AI comparison score to what the human thought. And so you can kind of use this as a litmus test to figure out, hey, is AI working for you in this capacity? Meaning, how much deviation is there from what I said versus, what it was? And so we're getting an average of 2.5 stars across that. And so, we saw that I said 2 and it said 3. But the point is, let me come out here. I might have, actually, it's not in this platform. I don't have it. But over time, this will build up. And I want you to imagine that you probably have interviewed 20, 30, 40, hopefully not more than that. And that's really a lot. People for the position. And at some point, you just want to deal with the top 3. And this is a great tool to help you visually bubble up. Now, things that are not happening here, I'm not recording this for later use. I'm not recording this for later capture. I'm not recording all of the data that comes from the interview, but all of this could then be sent to a subject matter expert if you only have very few resources in your organization. Somebody, on the front lines could actually conduct the interview and run it and give at least some intelligent answers to take that information in. So just the art of the possible here is huge and wide open. Sean, did I miss anything about some highlights or some points that you think would be good to add, or did I cover most of it, at least the good ones?
Well, as you know, I always have a comment.
Sure.
Number one, I really want to emphasize to everyone that your interview process is yours, and this is a really firm example of one. One, it has the preparation, right? Understanding what you're hiring for, and what questions and what the expected answers. And that the person doing the interview very well may be a person who doesn't understand the technology, like Unity, as we showed here. So, what traditional processes did 3, 4, 5 phases of conversations with candidates. This is a waste of money. This is a waste of effort, and it's frustrating on both sides. This is a bad business process. I don't remember talking to anybody who said, hey, we had a really good, easy, fruitful interview process when there wasn't a hire. So, it comes down to understanding your business process, leveraging the technology. We use Power Apps here. We use generative AI here. Why? Because it made everybody's life easier. How? As David was saying, it did the heavy lifting, right? It did the heavy lifting. The most difficult thing to do is always start, and it's doing that for you. It's giving you ground truth answers and give you the opportunity to modify them so that the technical expertise can be imbued in this technology, and the person doing the talent acquisition does the rest. So very valuable of enabling the user of this platform, the talent acquisition, and that they can take the sources of information they have from a corporation loaded in here, and they become free to do their job. Incredibly empowering. I like talking about this as a primer for digital transformation. As I stated before, number one, it's about empowering the user, the employee in this case. And number two, it's about being able to rapidly provide a technology that adapts to the business need, not the technology need, right? This isn't showcasing how awesome Power Apps could be. It isn't showing how awesome generative AI could be. It is about empowering the business and doing so at a much smaller cost because of Power Apps and Gen AI. So I like using this example every time we talk about digital transformation because it is about rapid acquisition and use and value. Now, Everest Group said 97% of Gen AI use cases didn't get any value last year. Now, can you imagine if you take this kind of technology and this kind of approach, how quickly you can roll out business value with generative AI? This to me is something that I'm a big believer about, and this showcase hopefully resonates with our audience to show what is possible and that it resets what the expectations should be for generative AI digital transformation.
And Sean, while you were talking, I'm just doing something just stupid because I want people to understand that the Power Platform is just super simple to use. Assuming you are comfortable with, hold on a second, I can't chew bubblegum and talk at the same time. But assuming that you do this, I just programmed a button to, when you click it, launch and go to our website. And so if you're comfortable with the Power Platform and dragging stuff onto the screen, you can use generative AI. You can use low-code tools. I'm showing Power Platform here, but it could be Mendex, could be OutSystems, Flutterflow. There's a tremendous amount of accelerators out there.
Honeycomb.
Yeah. There's so many of them. And I think Google has one, and I think Google App Sheets, that's the mobile/platform. So all of the major cloud providers have these accelerator type things, but being able to rapidly prototype, rapidly get things out. The other thing too that I try to consult and tell people is that, when you talk about generative AI or even low code tools to bring about transformation in your business, you should fail very quickly and fail fast and fail often to get to where you need to be. And you can't do that if you're a perfectionist stuck in the trench looking to have 100% perfectness coming out of whatever it is. Using these low code tools, again, going back to that Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule, the idea here is to get within a 80% target range of acceptability for what you would consider something minimally viable to be able to use in your business. In development, we call this an MVP, minimum viable product. And as long as it can get you over the hump, you can attest and test for user adaptability, user feedback, user uptake. How is your productivity happening? You throw enough stuff at the wall, eventually something's going to stick. And when it sticks, it's going to have a profound impact to your business. But if you don't try, you'll never know. And so I can't encourage you enough to use these low-code tools, even if it's not going to be your production end-all be-all system. The point is, have a conversation, fail fast, show people what's possible, and be able to create a path to move your company forward to take you to that new future state that you want to be. This is really the focus of this particular podcast in general. Also, just a quick plug here. I've recently this morning, for some reason, I don't know why it's not showing, it was showing earlier. We've added a new page to this. and it's going to be 9 pillars for transformation. And so I just want you folks that are listening and hearing the podcast to think about new and creative ways. And we're going to try to create interviews with folks that are leading either in a particular area or space as it's attributed to general transformation as it relates to their business, the impact that it's had on them. So if you're a leader in a particular space, we'd love to have you here on the show. Just last week, I believe we talked with a gentleman by the name of Aaron Gilmet. I'm sorry, Aaron, I probably butchered your last name. I do apologize. But we did have him on the podcast last week. We talked about the Power Platform. He's written a great book about Power Platform and the AI revolution. And so it's just another repeated point that people are using these low-code tools to accelerate their business and take everything to new heights. So with that being said, again, if you have any questions for either Sean or myself, you can go ahead and find us out on LinkedIn, and we're more than happy to reach out to you, have that conversation, or even do a one-on-one demo and kind of figure out, what it is that you're looking for and kind of take things to the next step. Anything else left to add, Sean?
No, other than transformation is a very personal business centric activity. And, this is why we do consulting is because it's going to be different for everybody.
Yep.
And what you're looking for is people who have done it before. It can help you guide you through the rough patches. The technology is extremely accessible. I say it's the easy part. It's knowing is different, right? Understanding what it takes to get it to the finish line is different from customer to client to client.
Correct. Yep. And Sean, you want to tell everybody about our show coming up tomorrow? We're actually going to have 2 this week.
Certainly. So want to talk a little bit about transformation. So one of the things I always talk to people about is, it's time to change. Change can be called a dirty word. That's why they came up with the term transformation. And the question that we'll be talking about tomorrow is, has transformation become the dirty word? And definitely want you all to participate. Drop a comment here. We'd love to hear about your thoughts about transformation and how you see the industry and impacting the bottom line of your business.
Well, definitely look forward to meeting everybody again tomorrow. And if anybody, are there any questions in the chat, Sean?
No, nothing other than positive thumbs up.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We will see you guys tomorrow. Until next time, have a great day. Bye-bye.